Hi, Ulu. Before we get into your spelling words this week, I just need to remind you of a few things because they're a bit complicated this week. Okay, so the letter I, we know that it is a vowel, and we know that all vowel sounds have a short sound as well as a long sound. So the short sound for the letter I sounds like E, like in the word igloo. So E for igloo is the short sound for the vowel I. In, it, in, win. So all of these words have the vowel I, but it's making the short sound. And then when it is making the long sound, it sounds like this, I. And it's the I and the E that are working together to change the short E into the long I sound. So in the word ice, ice, nice, and bite. The letter I is making the long sound, which is I. Sounds like the name of the letter, I. So whenever it sounds like the name of the letter, you must know it's the long sound. So E is the short sound and I is the long sound. You will notice that when it's making the short sound, it's just coded with a dot by itself, E. But when it's making the long sound I, we are showing that the I and the E are working together to produce the I sound. Okay, so when you see the smiley face in the coding, you know that it's the long sound I. Now, why do I say that your spelling words this week are a little bit complicated? Because you've got words that make the E sound, but they look like the long sound. So if you see the word machine, it's spelt with an I and an E with a letter separating them, which should usually get a smiley face like this in our coding. But if you remember our coding rule, if it's got a smiley face, then it should sound like the long I sound. It should sound like the long I sound. I, if we code it with the smiley face. So you will notice that most of your words this week have the I separated by another letter and the E. So we know that the I and the E should usually get the smiley face, but if they get the smiley face, then they sound like I. So what do we have to do? We have to change the coding so that we can understand that if it looks like I with a smiley face, but it sounds like E for the short vowel, but it sounds like E for igloo. So if the spelling of a word looks like this, like it has an I separated by another letter, E, I with the smiley face in the spelling. If we have I with the smiley face in the spelling, then it should sound like the long sound, which is I, the long sound which sounds like the name of the letter. So in these words, it doesn't sound like I, it sounds like E. Sounds like E for igloo. So we have to change our coding so that we can realize that the I and the E are not working together to make the long I sound. So the letter I is working by itself to sound like E for igloo, to make the short sound for the letter I. So therefore, if the I and the E are not working together, are not using the smiley face to sound like the I for ice cream sound, then the letter I must work by itself, get a dot by itself to sound like E for igloo. So it might look like the smiley face spelling, but it sounds like the E for igloo it makes the E for igloo sound. So that's why you will notice that we've crossed out the letter E. We've put a cross under the letter E to show you that the letter E is silent in all of these words, okay? I've explained the first half. I'm going to have to make a separate video to explain the next bit. So let's go treat all of your words. Your words are m, a, ch, e, n, machine. So if I've coded it like this with a smiley face, then it sounds like this: m, a, sh, I, n. So it's not a machine, it's a machine. Okay? So this coding would need to change to a dot for E, a dot for N, and a cross for the letter E because we don't hear it. Okay? Now let's do the second one. M, A, G, A, Z, E, N. Magazine. Number 3. M, A. It should have a cap because it sounds like A. M, A, R, E, N. Marine. S, A, B, M, A. Should wear a cap because it sounds like A. S, A, B, M, A, R, E, N. Submarine. M, R, J, A, R, E, N. Margarine. T, N, G, E, R, E, N. Tangerine. T, M, B, O, R, E, N. Tambourine. S, R, D, E, N. Sardine. R, U, T, E, N. Routine. An O and a U together can sound like oo, like in routine, and in the word mousse, like chocolate mousse. Chocolate mousse is spelled with an OU, but the OU sounds like oo, exactly the way it sounds in this word routine, okay? But in other words, the O and the U together can sound like ow, like in the word out, okay? So R, U, T, E, N, routine. Tr, M, P, O, L, E, N, trampoline. P, O, L, E, S, police. Okay? And then for these words, you will need to understand that the letter E is also a vowel, so it can make a short sound as well as a long sound. So the short sound for the letter E sounds like E for elephant, like in the word egg, egg. B, E, D, bed. B, E, N, D, bend. And then the long sound for the letter E sounds exactly like the name of the letter E. M, E, me. H, E, he. W, E, we. Okay? So you will notice that the long E sound sounds like the name of the letter. And then you will notice that the digraph or the house sound with the double E also sounds like E, like in me, he, and she. When you see a double E, it also sounds like E, S, E, B, E, C, and B, right? Why did I explain all of that to you? So that you can understand that when you see a double E, it sounds like the long sound for the letter E. Now, what you will notice about these words is that we have the letter E and the letter E separated by another letter in between the whole time. So when we have the letter E separated by another letter and then we have the letter E, it will also then sound like the E sound that is created by the double E, or the E sound where it's just